There are moments in life when a stranger's presence feels more familiar than our own reflection, when a single glance, a single word carries the weight of eternity, and in that instant, we know. We are not meeting for the first time, but remembering something ancient, something written into the very fabric of our soul. The archetype of home within the psyche is not merely about the physical comfort of walls, warmth, and familiar surroundings, but rather about the deep symbolic meaning embedded in the human unconscious. From birth, we carry within us certain universal images that shape the way we perceive the world and experience others. The image of home, in its truest form, represents safety, belonging, and the recognition of our authentic self without condition. It is the inner sanctuary where we are free from judgment, where our vulnerabilities are accepted, and where our spirit feels grounded. When we encounter another human being who suddenly awakens this archetype, it is as if an ancient memory stirs within us, reminding us of something we have always known but could not name. The presence of such a person touches the depths of the soul, unlocking a recognition that bypasses logic, time, and social conditioning, leaving us with the unshakable impression that we have returned to ourselves through them. This feeling of homecoming often arrives unexpectedly, and it does not require lengthy familiarity or gradual trust building. Instead, it occurs in an instant, as though some hidden part of us has been waiting for the signal that only this person carries. Their voice, their gaze, the way they occupy space, all of these subtle elements awaken dormant impressions within the psyche. It is less about who they are on the surface and more about what they represent in the symbolic landscape of our unconscious. They embody the archetypal home, the living reminder of a place of acceptance and wholeness, and so our inner being responds with a powerful sense of recognition. We do not have to explain ourselves to them or earn their presence, for the connection exists on a level that predates words. What makes this experience profound is that the archetype of home is not limited to external relationships, but reflects the deepest longing of the human soul, to find a return to origin, a place where one is truly seen. When we meet someone who activates this archetype, it is as if we have been handed a mirror that reflects not only who we are, but also where we belong. Their presence resonates with the hidden patterns of our unconscious, creating a harmony between the inner world and the outer encounter. This is why such connections feel so rare and extraordinary. They are not merely the product of chance, but the manifestation of timeless patterns playing out in human relationships. It is also important to understand that the archetype of home does not mean sameness or lack of challenge. Sometimes the people who awaken it bring with them lessons and transformations that force us to grow. Yet, even within these challenges, there is a sense of grounding, a feeling that we are not adrift in the world, but anchored by something larger than ourselves. Their presence provides a psychic shelter, a place where the storms of life can rage, but we are not lost. This is why some individuals, upon first meeting, can stir emotions as if they had always been part of our lives. They embody an eternal symbol lodged in the human spirit, the archetypal image of home, and when it is awakened, the psyche responds with awe, relief, and an almost sacred sense of recognition. The resonance of energies between two individuals is one of the most mysterious yet undeniable phenomena of human connection. It is the silent language that exists beyond words, beyond appearances, and beyond rational explanation. When two souls meet and their vibrations align, there is an immediate sense of harmony, as though both beings are tuned to the same invisible frequency. This resonance does not require deliberate effort. It occurs naturally, creating an environment where the spirit feels free and the heart feels at ease. It is this effortless quality that makes certain encounters feel destined, for the connection bypasses the superficial layers of personality and touches the deeper essence of who we are. Every individual carries within them a particular energetic pattern shaped by their experiences, emotions, thoughts, and unconscious drives. These patterns are not static, they shift and evolve, yet at the core they hold a rhythm unique to each person. When we come across someone whose rhythm mirrors or complements our own, it creates a profound sense of recognition. This recognition manifests as comfort, as if we have stepped into a space where our soul no longer needs to defend itself or wear masks. The resonance is not something seen with the eyes or reasoned by the intellect. It is felt in the body, in the subtle sensations that arise when presence meets presence. We may find ourselves breathing more easily, speaking without hesitation, or simply existing in a state of calm awareness, all because our energies align. This resonance also dissolves barriers that usually exist in human interaction. Social roles, guardedness, and fear often create distance between people, but when energies vibrate in harmony, these barriers fall away. Instead of struggling to be understood, we find that understanding flows without effort. Instead of hesitating to share, we discover that openness arises naturally. The conversation becomes secondary to the unspoken rhythm, the silent recognition that two beings are in sync on a level deeper than language. This explains why, with some individuals, even silence feels rich, comforting, and full. What makes the resonance of energy so powerful is its ability to create authenticity. In the presence of such a connection, we feel safe enough to be ourselves without pretense, without editing, without shrinking. This is because resonance validates our existence in a way that logic cannot. It assures us that who we are is enough, that our being itself harmonizes with another's. This is why people often describe such meetings as feeling right, as though something larger than themselves has orchestrated the moment. The experience of resonance is not only deeply personal, but also profoundly spiritual, hinting that human souls are attuned to each other through currents that transcend the visible world. When energies resonate, time itself seems altered. Moments stretch into eternity, and what would normally require years of familiarity can unfold in an instant. There is a sense that the bond has existed long before the meeting and will endure regardless of time or distance. This resonance carries with it both mystery and certainty, reminding us that human connection is not merely a matter of chance encounters, but the alignment of unseen forces. It is why certain people, when they enter our lives, feel like a return to a truth we had forgotten, a reminder that our souls are never truly isolated, but forever seeking the rhythm that matches their own. The experience of meeting someone who feels like home often carries with it the sensation that they are mirroring back hidden aspects of our inner world, the parts of ourselves that lie dormant, unacknowledged, or forgotten. Human beings do not see themselves fully, for much of who we are resides in the unconscious, buried beneath layers of adaptation, fear, and social conditioning. Yet, when we encounter a person who reflects these hidden dimensions, it is as if the veil is lifted and we are suddenly brought into contact with our deeper essence. They do not merely accept us, they reveal us to ourselves. This reflection is not forced or deliberate, but rather emerges naturally through the resonance of presence. We recognize something in their eyes, their words, or their energy that awakens the shadowed corners of our psyche and brings them into the light of awareness. Such people act as living mirrors, and through them we see both our strengths and our vulnerabilities with unusual clarity. They expose truths we may have resisted and affirm qualities we may have underestimated. When they awaken this hidden self, the experience can feel startling, as though they know us better than we know ourselves. Yet the recognition they bring is not intrusive. it feels strangely comforting, as if this unveiling was long overdue. Their role is not to create new qualities in us, but to reflect what was always there, waiting to be acknowledged. This is why these connections carry such profound weight. The person does not simply exist in our external reality, but becomes a bridge into the internal realms of our being. The mirror they hold up is not always flattering. At times, it can confront us with the rawness of our insecurities, fears, and wounds. In their presence, we may feel exposed, not because they judge us, but because their energy dissolves the barriers we build against self-knowledge. Strangely, even this exposure feels safe, for the essence of the connection is not about criticism, but recognition. To be mirrored in this way is to feel deeply understood, even when uncomfortable truths arise. This experience is healing in its own right, for only when the hidden self is seen can it be integrated, transforming fragmentation into wholeness. What deepens the power of this mirroring is that it restores balance within us. By reflecting forgotten aspects of our soul, these individuals reconnect us with parts we abandoned in pursuit of survival or social approval. They may remind us of our capacity for play, creativity, courage, or tenderness. They may also reflect qualities we project outward, helping us realize that what we admire in them is a dormant seed within ourselves. This recognition strengthens us, for it shows that the qualities we seek are not external possessions, but internal truths waiting to be reclaimed. In this way, people who feel like home serve as catalysts for self-discovery and integration. They reveal us to ourselves not through analysis, but through the undeniable resonance of being. The sense of home we feel with them is not only about their presence, but also about the rediscovery of our own essence reflected back to us. To be mirrored in such a way is to feel whole, to sense that our inner and outer worlds have aligned, and to awaken to the truth that we were never incomplete, only waiting for the right encounter to reveal what has always lived within us. The sensation of timeless familiarity that arises when meeting certain individuals is one of the most profound aspects of human connection, for it carries the feeling that the bond stretches beyond the boundaries of ordinary experience. When we encounter someone and instantly feel as though we have known them for ages, even if the meeting has just occurred, the psyche responds with an unusual blend of comfort and mystery. It is as if time itself bends, allowing the soul to recognize patterns that the conscious mind cannot fully grasp. This experience often feels like déjà vu, an uncanny sense that we are stepping into a scene we have lived before, or rekindling a relationship that never truly began in this lifetime. The familiarity is not rooted in shared memories or past encounters, but in the deeper symbolic language of the unconscious, where timeless patterns of connection reside. Such timelessness is felt not in the surface details of personality, but in the way the other's presence resonates with our innermost being. Their gestures, their tone, even the silences between words awaken within us a sense of recognition that transcends rational explanation. This is why some people can feel closer to us in a single moment than others do after years of acquaintance. The bond is not built through accumulation of time, but through the unlocking of memory carried in the soul, memory that may not belong to our personal history, but to a larger archetypal story in which both beings are participants. It is as though their presence stirs something ancient within us, reminding us of truths we had forgotten but instantly remember upon seeing them again. This sense of timeless familiarity often comes with a deep emotional charge, one that is both grounding and disorienting. On one hand, it feels safe, like returning to a place of belonging that we had been searching for unknowingly. On the other hand, it can also stir longing, a yearning for something beyond the limits of present reality, as though we are reaching toward a continuity that stretches before and beyond this moment. Such paradoxical feelings point to the possibility that the bond is not confined to linear time, but exists in a dimension where past, present, and future flow into each other. The human mind may struggle to articulate this, yet the heart understands it intuitively. What makes these connections so extraordinary is that they collapse the usual boundaries of time and space in relationships. Trust, intimacy, and understanding do not require gradual cultivation because they already exist in seed form, waiting to be activated by the encounter. This is why, with some people, even silence feels complete, as if words were unnecessary to bridge the space between two souls. The sense of home that arises is inseparable from this timelessness, for it suggests that what we are experiencing is not new but remembered, not constructed but rediscovered. To feel such familiarity is to be reminded that human relationships are not solely products of chance or circumstance, but may be manifestations of deeper patterns woven into the fabric of existence. It is an invitation to step beyond the narrow boundaries of chronological time and glimpse the eternal, where the bonds of recognition transcend lifetimes. This is why certain encounters feel predestined, why the presence of another can feel like a return to something eternal, and why in their presence the heart whispers that it has finally come home. The pull of destiny in human connections reveals itself most vividly in those encounters that arrive at precisely the right moment, often when we are least expecting them, but most in need of them. Life has a way of arranging meetings that alter the course of our journey, and the individuals who feel like home often enter our lives not by accident, but by design of a deeper order that lies beyond conscious control. These connections do not emerge randomly. They tend to appear at pivotal turning points when the soul requires guidance, healing, or awakening. The timing of their arrival carries a weight that feels fated, as if the universe itself had conspired to place them in our path. The sense of inevitability surrounding such encounters is what gives them their power, for we feel that no matter how many choices we might have made differently, we were always meant to meet this person. The pull of destiny is not simply about attraction or chemistry. It is about alignment with the larger narrative of our lives. Each of us carries within us a path of growth, a journey that unfolds through trials, lessons, and revelations. Certain people act as catalysts for this unfolding, accelerating our transformation by embodying qualities, challenges, or insights that we cannot ignore. They may enter softly, bringing comfort and affirmation, or they may arrive with intensity, shaking us out of complacency and forcing us to confront truths we have long avoided. In both cases, their presence is charged with meaning, and it feels as though their role was always written into the fabric of our story. This is why people often describe such connections with phrases like "meant to be" or "it was destiny." The experience transcends personal choice and speaks to the orchestration of forces greater than ourselves. These destined encounters also hold the power to redirect the trajectory of our lives. A chance meeting may inspire us to change careers, to leave behind unhealthy patterns, or to embrace parts of ourselves we had denied. Sometimes the person who feels like home awakens dormant dreams or reignites passions that had been buried beneath the demands of survival. At other times, they help us heal wounds that were silently shaping our behaviors and limiting our growth. The key element is that their presence alters us, pushing us closer to the fulfillment of who we are meant to become. They do not always stay with us for a lifetime, but their impact endures because it was never about permanence, but about transformation. The pull of destiny in these connections also challenges the illusion of control. We may spend years striving to shape our lives according to our will, yet the arrival of such a person reminds us that there are forces guiding us beyond what we can consciously direct. It humbles us, reminding us that life is not a series of random events, but a meaningful pattern unfolding according to deeper laws. The feeling of home we experience with them is a sign that we are aligned with this greater order, that the meeting itself is evidence of purpose at work in our lives. It reassures us that we are not wandering aimlessly, but being guided, and that the people who matter most will arrive when the time is right. In this way, the pull of destiny in human connection is not just about finding another person, but about discovering the path we were always meant to walk, illuminated by their presence. The healing of the soul through connections that feel like home is one of the deepest gifts that human relationships can offer, for in such encounters we experience not only companionship, but also restoration of the broken and forgotten parts of ourselves. To feel instantly at ease with someone, to sense that their presence soothes our being, is to touch upon a form of healing that transcends physical remedies and intellectual explanations. It is the healing of recognition, of being seen and accepted without condition, which dissolves the loneliness and fragmentation that so often haunt the human spirit. When someone embodies this sense of home, they do not need to fix us or provide solutions. Their very presence becomes medicine, reminding us that we are whole even in our imperfections. This kind of healing arises because these individuals meet us in the place where our defenses fall away. The burdens of performance, the masks we wear, and the fear of judgment all dissolve when we are with them. In their presence we are free to exhale the weight we carry, and that exhale becomes the beginning of healing. The soul does not heal through force but through safety, through the assurance that it can reveal its wounds without being rejected. Such a connection provides precisely that space, where vulnerability is not a weakness, but an invitation to deeper intimacy. It is here that hidden pains rise to the surface, not to torment us, but to be soothed, acknowledged, and gently transformed. The healing is also reciprocal, for these connections are not one-sided acts of giving or receiving, but mutual exchanges of energy. Each person becomes both healer and healed, reflecting back the wholeness that the other may have forgotten. In this shared recognition, a bond forms that restores trust in life itself. The soul, often weary from isolation or betrayal, learns again that it is possible to be embraced without condition. This mutuality deepens the sense of home, for home is not a place where one is only cared for, but where both giving and receiving flow effortlessly. The transformative power of such healing is that it reshapes our relationship with ourselves. To be accepted in our rawest form by another human being teaches us to extend that same acceptance inward. The harsh inner voices that criticize and divide us begin to soften in the presence of love that does not demand perfection. We internalize the sense of safety offered by the connection, and over time it becomes part of our inner world. In this way, the healing does not depend on the constant presence of the other person. It plants a seed of wholeness that continues to grow even when we are alone. This kind of healing connection often arrives in times of deep struggle or uncertainty, serving as a lifeline when the soul feels lost. Their presence becomes a reminder that life is not only about suffering but also about restoration. The experience of being met so fully changes us, not by erasing our wounds, but by weaving them into a larger story of growth and meaning. To feel at home with someone instantly is thus not a simple matter of comfort, but an initiation into a deeper truth, that the soul heals most profoundly in the presence of love, acceptance, and recognition, and that such encounters are reminders of the wholeness that has always lived within us, waiting to be awakened. In the tapestry of human connection, those who feel like home are not accidents of chance, but sacred encounters woven into the architecture of our journey. They awaken archetypes buried in the psyche, resonate with the hidden music of our being, reflect back forgotten parts of ourselves, and carry the timeless familiarity of bonds that transcend lifetimes. They arrive with the pull of destiny, appearing at moments when transformation is most needed, and in their presence, the soul finds healing, wholeness, and belonging. Such connections remind us that life is not a random scattering of meetings, but a guided unfolding where the right people arrive with perfect precision. To feel at home in another's presence is to be reminded that we are never truly lost, that the universe has its own language of love and recognition, and that in the eyes of certain souls we find not only companionship, but a mirror of the eternal home we have always carried within.